Ah, CK3, everyone's favourite relationship simulator. And we are back with our mega campaign, guys, last time taking Sparta to new heights in Imperator Rome. Right, guys, are you ready for the big reveal? Let's have a look at what the world has in store for us. And there we go. Honestly, it's not looking too bad, apart from, obviously, Rome. We, of course, are over here, the great empire of Sparta. Unfortunately, it moved our capital to Naxos, and not the barony of Lacedaemonia, because it's a secondary barony. So, I guess we rule from the island of Naxos now. Of course, the Ptolemies and the Seleucids do still exist, which is, interesting at this point. And the Seleucids did retain the Seleucid dynasty, which is pretty cool, apart from their motto. But the Ptolemies have an imposter. Of course, Rome and Carthage do both still exist. We have the Holy Empire of Rome and the Most Serene Republic of Carthage. And of course, in the north, we have some big Celtic powers, Armorica and Brigantia. The north of India is still ruled by the Mauryans, which is, pretty good. And I'm not sure about that house motto either. What is going on over here? In terms of religion, Hellenic is pretty dominant in the east of the Med. Of course, we are Hellenic as well. We do have a heresy inside us, though, which is interesting. And there is two Zoroastrian religions over here, so I think that is the only monotheistic religion that exists at the moment. But all of the religious wars are going to be taking place in West Europe, because there's about 4 different Celtic druidic religions. We've got Celtiberian Druidism, Gallic Druidism, Druidic Druidism, and Brythonic Druidism. Lots of Celtic religions. Of course, the Norse and the Mongols will still exist because they're not really factored into Imperator Rome. Culture-wise, it is pretty messy, but the main thing is the fact that our nation is pretty much all Greek, which is fantastic. And we've got Basilius Marcos over here, who's chaste, diligent, arrogant, astute intellectual, whole of body, and a scholar. And I tell you, he's going to need that whole of body because he's 83 with no children. In fact, all our dynasty is pretty old and none of them have any children whatsoever. Also noticing a theme with the way they look, guys. And of course, in today's video, the main aim is to grow our dynasty, have a bit of fun, and also get a little bit of land in the west for EU4. Now, we did skip ahead a little bit to 500 AD, so we've got to imagine that the Dark Ages in this timeline was a pretty peaceful time. First things first, let's find a wife. Well, because of the fact that we are chaste, we are going to find someone that is lustful, so let's go for Geduda over here, a megalithic woman. We do have a load of renown, so we're going to get bounteous loins for that fertility, and then we're going to get noble veins as well. Lifestyle wise, we have whole of body already, which is great for our health, but honestly, I think we need a little bit of extra stewardship because we've got a few holdings. Development wise, I'd say we're doing pretty good. And we've created a couple of extra kingdoms, the Despotate of Crete and the Despotate of Epirus, apparently, which is literally only Kefalonia and Corfu. So, yeah, and basically we're down to 8. I'm happy to hold on to 8 holdings now. Remember, guys, all of the converters will be down in the description below. Go and show them some love. And it's done a pretty good job with kingdom titles, I would say, overall. Apart from the de jure kingdom of the Ptolemies, like, that is so big. And oh my god, how good is it to see the Spartan banner in the Middle Ages, boys. Right then, let's press play and hope that we don't die. And we are going to go straight for a grand wedding. And of course, it's going to be as lavish as possible. We do have the money. Well, poor 18-year-old Geduda has become soulmates with us at 84. Love is blind. And there we go. Some nice prestige and piety and legitimacy. Please be pregnant. Please be pregnant. Please be pregnant. Ah. Oh. And yes, come on. Come on, fantastic. I mean, it does mean we're probably going to have a child emperor, but when has that ever worked out badly for a nation in this region? And we used quite a bit of money to start building in all of our places. And we've got a quick son. I think there's only one thing we can call him. And literally, as soon as we got our son, we become infirm. Oh no. And now the only Agiads left in the world is us and our son. Oh no. And damn, we had another son. Awesome. And obviously, there's only one name for him as well, Mr. Potatoes. let's start trying to get rid of some of this heresy. And I think we'll also try and reform the faith as well with our next ruler. And another son, I'm sure that's not going to cause any problems. And we got the nickname The Old. I mean, it's understandable, isn't it? And damn, we are still going at nearly 90 years old. Let's name you after your mother. And there we go. We have died at the age of 90. A 5-year-old is going onto the throne. At least we have a few more dynasty members now. But Arius III, I can't think of a better king to lead us into the future. God damn it, at least we have like primogeniture, jeez. I keep seeing pop-ups that the Seleucids are raiding us. I didn't know that these guys we can raid. I don't know where that comes from. Like, the Seleucids are Macedonian and I don't see anything in here that allows them to raid. And he's Hellenic as well, and I don't know where there's anything in here that allows you to raid either, but someone let me know down in the comments. I think we get married to this Scordiscian intelligent woman. And what would you know, guys? The Kingdom of Scotland exists in this campaign on the Isle of Man. Great. And oh my god, I have found a monotheist over here. That's crazy. Where did you come from, my friend? Where did you come from? And everyone wants a few captives from Carthage, it seems. And we have come of age, guys. We were shaping up to be a fantastic character, ambitious, diligent, and paranoid. Not great for the stress gain, mind you, but we became an indulgent wastrel. Why? No. And honestly, I may have stacked a bit too much stress gain here because every single event is 90 stress. I mean, let's start the genealogy of Arius over here. I mean, we got so much money right now, we might as well. We're also just going to keep going on loads of pilgrimages, guys, because I want to reform the religion. Let's have our own grand marriage on Naxos. And just look at the stress, guys. 188 stress here, 94 stress either way. At least the wedding got rid of some of our stress. And there we go, our first child is on the way. Well, our regent actually did something good, making us get limited crown authority. Thank you, regent. You're pretty entrenched right now. We need to get rid of that. Especially seeing as your aptitude is pretty terrible. And we had some twins, both of them intelligent. Very nice. I think that is the best name for them. Well, it didn't take long for Carthage to explode. And what manner of parents were you spawned from, Archidamos? And one of our kings has decided to convert to Zoroastrian. Please, no, my friend. Now we can complete our legend. It doesn't really give us that much, honestly, apart from some legitimacy. To be fair, though, that is a good book. And by the way, I forgot to say that Rome is actually a Grand Republic as well. Like, they have a lowborn in charge now. Fair enough. I mean, he's not even got a house, so, yeah, that's pretty cool. And we also became a wise man on one of our pilgrimage, which is, pretty good. Man, this guy managed to convert everywhere so quickly. How did he do that? It's literally been a couple of years, man. And our sister can marry the, Serene Doge of Bavaria. The Hellenic Roman Serene Doge of Bavaria, mind you. Well, let's build our legendary palace. Well, I think it might be time to start wandering west, so I think we can just get into these boys up here. And damn, just as soon as we did that, we got a Liberty faction war. Great. And it looks like we're fighting quite a few people, I'm not gonna lie. Well, at least we can win this little war. I mean, it's safe to say this war is not going that well, my friends. Well, I think it's time to call in the Serene Doge of Bavaria. Well, there we go. Our crown authority is back down to low. Well, I think we take our anger out on the remnants of the Carthaginians. And that was easy enough. And why do we own this over here? Like, who owns this? You own this? How? What's happening? And oh dear, our friend, did this to themselves. Now we are totally broken by stress. We're also facing a myriad of wars. And our great son, Leonidas, has come of age and he is a grey eminence. Awesome. For some reason, my land keeps getting converted to Zoroastrian, so we need to reform the faith soon. Well, that's a few of the wars done, guys, but it's just funny, isn't it, how we go from a realm in Imperator Rome that was incredibly stable, that had 200,000 troops, and now we have 3,000. And as might be expected, guys, we died from stress. I thought you were going to be the good king, Arius, but I guess it has to be Leonidas. And of course, while we're trying to mourn our father, You're gonna declare war on us, aren't you? And look how many of my vassals are involved in this. Great. Hopefully we can behead them all. Ah, and we had a genius son. Fantastic. And how did I know you were gonna be a good king, Leonidas? Oh. Well, I think we're gonna be remaking the realm a little bit. Well, looks like the Seleucids are no more. I'm not sure whether that's an ominous perk or not for us. And our heir, Alexios, has come of age. He's only a tough soldier, but he's got pretty good traits overall. Finally, we've had some form of stability, guys. I've not had a war for a while, mainly due to the fact that we have a ordained ruler. But it's safe to say the Seleucids didn't last too long, although they still have some dynasty members left over here. So we've now taken Sevilla and the Canaries over here. That's about as west as we want to go. I wouldn't mind cleaning up some more of North Africa, but the Ptolemies are going to be a hard nut to crack, honestly. And I'm not attacking any of the remnants of the Seleucids because we need that piety to reform the faith. And I think it's time, guys, to reform the faith over here. First things first, of course, we're going lay clergy and temporal head of faith, making us the head of faith. I've also changed from pluralist to righteous, allowing us to revoke titles from evil infidels. Everything else is pretty darn good, honestly. It's nothing we want to change. And we're going to keep esotericism and we're going to keep communal identity as well. But we are going to change to a more Spartan way of life, which is gruesome festivals. So let's go, guys. Most of our vassals will go with us. And there we go. Not too many counties went with us, but hopefully we can do a little bit to resolve that. Damn, look at that time now. 2 years? It was like 15 years before with the 25 learning guy. The world will see that Zeus favors us. We've also now finished the blood legacies as well. Pretty nice. Now I think all of our vassals are actually Hellenic now. Nice. Being reformed, though, does mean that it's going to be a lot harder to conquer more land, but good job we kind of have the land that we want now. In terms of the rest of the world, Britannia is still going strong. Rome still exists in its 3 interesting slots. Marcomannia or Germany is pretty scary. Same as Slavia, even though they are in a few wars. Of course, the Ptolemies still do exist, and the Mauryans have died for the Laharids. And damn, we have died. The greatest leader our nation has ever seen since the old days of Leonidas. But of course, this Leonidas was very good as well. Leonidas the good, you might say. To be fair, Alexios is pretty darn good. But now we've kind of got as far as we want to in terms of land in CK3, guys. So we're going to churn through a few years because I've been playing for 4 hours and not even played 100 years. I think something's gone a little bit wrong, guys. It's like we've got primogeniture, and we have done since the start. It converted us to have that straight away. And this is our oldest son, who is our dynasty. But he's not our heir. Apparently it's his baby. Am I missing something? Like, what's going on? And it looks like the Supreme Republic of Rome is no more, my friends. Oh, that is cursed. I think you're getting a little bit too big for your boots, Ptolemies, over there, boys. And it's one of those phases of the game again. Well, Demetrios, what have you been up to over there? Not exactly the best guy to have in a faction against you. And damn, the melee reformation as well, which is these boys up here, the steppe boys. You might say it's a bit of a sexy religion. And that's what we like to see. Look at that Germania. And I was praying that Alexios would hang on until his son came of age, but I guess not. I mean, honestly, he has decent traits, but he is the child of a concubine, and that is not a law-appropriate name, my friend. And things are looking good in France. I mean, why is there a Lusitanian here? That's the tribe from down here. I don't know how they got here. Well, it's time to get rid of our scheming uncle on Crete. I mean, someone with the nickname The Accursed shouldn't be ruling these lands. Oh, and it begins. And we are now of age, and we're not that good. Well, that's who we're at war with. Basically, our whole realm. Oh, now another one. Oh. And this is what's happened, guys. We've, I suppose, survived succession, kind of. We've lost half of our North African stuff. I mean, I'm not really bothered as long as we have the coast up here and the islands down here. Alright, let's just take our anger out on executing a few people. Sorry guys. Well, I'm not sorry actually, I'm happy that this is happening. I think, honestly, characters from now on should just all be intrigue. And again... Well, they've got 15,000 troops, guys, so I think we need to surrender. And now we're a vassal. Well, we can be the one to be a dickhead. And who would have guessed it? She's ruling from Constantinople. Are you joking? Like, literally, even being a fucking king, we still are having claimant factions. Well, let's press our demands over here, and let's see what happens. There's already a few wars going on for her now. Damn, we imprisoned her over here as well. Now, let's enforce demands. That does bring us into 2 wars straight away. And we're back. Right, time to sort out the realm. I think what we'll do, guys, is move our capital to Lacedaemonia, as it should be the capital anyway. Basically because Naxos, although we do have this legendary palace, it's pretty good, is causing a lot of issues with vassals over here. They're not very happy. Is this a bad idea, guys? Let's do it. Oh, damn, we got a Prussia over 1,000 years early. Honestly, what I would give to be on Britain right now. Please, please. Nice, stable realm, please. And this definitely was a mistake because it now goes to Confederate partition with the co-monarch, which, yeah, it's not good. I mean, it makes sense. It's not primogeniture anymore, is it? And Sabas has died, the one that lost the crown and brought it back into our reach. Now we are Damianos, who is pretty good, as you can see, but we did lose a bit of land. Well, I think there's only one thing to do, and that's to denounce him and then try and imprison him. Well, Uncle, you are in prison now, but unfortunately we can't revoke his titles because, someone else is trying to take it. I think starting in 500 may have been a bit of a mistake, guys. I think I'm going, slightly mad here. I've played for 8 hours and it's only 668. Oh, well, I think it's time to churn through some years. Hopefully, we shall see. And this plot may have been a mistake. Oh, no. At this point, I just feel like we are cosplaying the Byzantines right now. It's absolute chaos. We did just get Divine Mandate, which I'm not sure whether that's going to work or not. Well, we've tried diplomacy to keep our nation together. I think now the only thing to do is to try violence. And violence seems to be the answer, boys. Well, that's an interesting development. Where did you come from? Well, 700 AD is here, and the world is looking interesting, shall we say. Also, my good son was murdered, so now we have a learning son. There's not going to be any factions when you take charge, is there, son? Well, seeing as we're already on Confederate partition, I don't see a problem with making one of our other sons a co-monarch with a bit better traits for keeping the factions in check. And there we go, Damianos the Wolf has died, unfortunately. He was a pretty good character overall, not too many factions, so let's see how Paschalis does. Well, I guess that's a good start. Well, there's only been about 5 factions this time, guys, so it's time to remake the realm once again. And of course, when we were having a little bit of peace, we've been murdered. Oh my god. This is just insane, man. This is the true cosplay of the Byzantine Empire if it was Spartan. Oh my god. Well, at least we've got High Priest Eusebios over here, who is pretty darn good, honestly. Luckily, we only had like 1 brother, so there shouldn't be too many claimant factions. In terms of the rest of the world, guys, Catholicism is spreading. There are some realms that are actually Catholic now, which is pretty cool. You can see Hellenic has spread quite a bit through the lands. In fact, past our own lands, these boys are now Hellenic too. In terms of culture as well, Greek is still going pretty darn strong. The rest of the world, I'm just going to ignore. It's horrible. I mean, the people that split out of the Romans are still around, which is pretty cool. We've got a Roman Bavaria, a Roman Magna Graecia, which is basically Italia, obviously. We got Burgundy as well. There's Gallic over here. And Britannia as always, is going very strong indeed. One of the coolest things is that Canaanite still exists over here, so the Carthaginians have just migrated. Honestly, one of the most cursed things is the fact that Catholicism originated and spread from the Norse lands. Well, that's certainly a bit of a throwback. Well, I'll tell you what, intrigue is working pretty well. I mean, basically, we're just getting factions, and then we just murder the members of the factions. I think that's the way to go from now on. Well, we've done Guardian of the Hellenic Holy Site over here, so let's complete that, and that will allow us to evangelize to the realm. Let's have a look at what we have. We are pretty Hellenic already, but let's see what happens when we evangelize to the realm. And there we go. Look at that. Loads of the land has become Hellenic. Very nice indeed. And Eusebius the Requiem has been a pretty awesome leader, I'm not gonna lie. We have retaken Carthage because they became independent. We've retaken these islands over here. We've taken a little bit of land up there. We've converted much of our population too. All of our vassals are expanding, as you can see, quite a bit. But now we can consecrate the bloodline. Nice. He gains the trait, the Savior. Perform the final rites. And he gets the name, the Divine. What an absolute boy. I mean, he's been divinely killing anyone that's joined a faction. But I guess not everyone knows that. And we just switched across to an administrative government. So now we have an estate, which is pretty cool because this is going to allow us to actually have a good army. And that gives us acclamation succession, which is actually a lot better than confederate partition. Means we're not going to lose titles when we die. And there we go. Eusebius has died, taking us over 800 AD. He reigned for 70 years, which is pretty amazing. So now we've got High Priest Aristarchus over here. He is not great, but he's okay, really. He's okay. In terms of the rest of the world, we have a pretty messy world, as you might expect. The Hellenistic Empire still exists, and that is one Hellenic headwear you've got there, my friend. Iberia seems to be pretty much stable. Germania is just constantly going from Germania to Marcomania, all that sort of thing. Ironically enough, like, Catholic is still doing pretty decently, honestly. And I have no idea how this works, but for some reason, like, all of these people over here are all now republics underneath us. What? Like, what? How does that work? These guys the same as well. What about these boys? No, they're not. I don't really know how that works at all. And Slavia has pretty much died, as you can see, but there's some weird succession going on over here. Like, why? Why, game? Oh dear. Well, you remember in Imperator Rome when Pontus decided to migrate into the north? They're back, boys. They're back, and they're Slavic. But maybe this administrative government thing was a little bit of a mistake again. We keep making mistakes because basically it means that people outside our dynasty can become the leader of the empire, which is not acceptable in my opinion. But the interesting thing that is happening is that there is a crusade, my friends. I was certainly not expecting a crusade in this timeline. And the Catholics actually won. That is a bit of a shame. That is now a new Catholic kingdom that is Sami. Okay. I'm basically at the point now where if anyone declares war on us in the east over here, I'm just surrendering because I don't want this land when we get to EU4. Oh, and by the way, between the consecrated bloodline guy and some of these less good rulers, we have become a cadet branch, but I just changed the name to Argyad. It's a cadet branch anyway, and we're still on the throne of Sparta, which is the main thing. Wow. Things are looking culturally homogenous. Ah, Italy. Back to the good old days, I see. Oh, and by the way, guys, we've gone past the first start date of the game. And this administrative government thing is pretty good. It's quite fun. But titles are basically like water slipping through your fingers. So titles are pretty crazy when you do this government form. And in terms of securing your titles, if you just murder everyone that's in the line of succession before your candidate, you know, who's going to say no to your candidate? Here is the rest of the world at nearly 900 AD. And as you can see, the only really stable entities out there are the Hellenistic Empire, Sparta, us, of course, and Britannia. Everywhere else is pretty dynamic right now, apart from Iberia. For some reason, Iberia has been a triumvirate of nations for a very, very long time, and they've just sort of kept these borders, which is kind of interesting. Well, we are exactly 1,000 years after the birth of someone we've never heard of. Apparently he was some French guy who turned water into wine and stones into baguettes. But surprisingly, we've had a pretty stable run of late. We did go back to feudalism just because I wanted to make sure we didn't get screwed in the converter. And as you can see, our vassals have been disgustingly busy. They've also decided to eat disunified Italy as well, take parts of Spain, take North Africa, but I think we'll do a little bit of modification when we get into EU4. In terms of land, we've taken way more than I kind of wanted to in CK3. I wanted to keep quite consolidated, but I don't mind this at all. And like I say, we've taken the areas that we do want for EU4. And our main aim today was to make the Argead dynasty one of the greatest dynasties in the world, and I think we have definitely done that. We've now got 228 living members from that 3 ancient blokes we had at the start of the game, which is pretty insane. 31 houses of Argeads around the place now. And we have had some glorious leaders. This guy's only been in charge for 6 years, so he's not really been able to do much. And we have had some glorious leaders in this time, guys. We did have to install this boy back in charge by faction demand after Apollonius beat us in succession over here. But apart from that, everyone else has been an Argead. And as you can see, we definitely went the intrigue route more recently. But we did have some glorious kings like Eusebius the Divine, who ruled for 70 years. And of course, other such famous names such as Damianos the Wolf. And who can forget Leonidas the Good? And of course, we go all the way back to Basilius Arius I, the Vanquisher from Imperator Rome. A very fun run so far, I've got to say. And the Ptolemies returned for a little while, but now they are back to the Hellenistic Empire. And to be honest, guys, I am not scared of the Hellenistic Empire, but that thing absolutely terrifies me. I have just been churning through years, as you can probably tell from our money. The thing is, though, there hasn't been anything to spend our money on at all, because we don't have the sort of innovations to get this going. But the main thing is, we did retain the Aegead dynasty, even though it is a cadet branch, and we retained our capital in Lacedaemonia. And to be fair, not a huge amount has really happened. It's just been sort of trading things. Slavia obviously completely died. And of course, Rome and Carthage are no more, but their offspring are definitely around. As you can see, we still have Punic culture over here. We've got Ibero-Roman and Gallo-Roman too. But it's safe to say the Celtic peoples have kind of won out. We have the Belgae up here. We've got the Brithono-Quercan. The Galicians are Bretons for some reason. And Iberia is Puno-Celtiberian. And the Germans are Germanic still. In terms of the stable areas, you know, Sparta, Hellenistic Empire have kind of been stable. Over here has been relatively stable, but now we're down from 3 to 2 nations instead. Of course, France is very interesting with Lotharingia and Aquitaine. And Alba over here, that was Britain, has not really been doing much and just staying on its island. Some things never change. But they did do one bit of cheeky expansion. Welcome to Finland. In terms of the east, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a mess, boys. And there is still some Macedonian pops with the Syro-Macedonians in Baghdad. Let's have a look at our cultures, guys. And as you can see, we are pretty much the only homogenous culture group in the world. Everywhere else is absolutely disgusting. I mean, up here in the north, we do have a pretty homogenous culture in the steppe. But the great nation of Ob. We still have Bactrian, which is pretty awesome. And ancient Egyptian. It's not so ancient anymore. In terms of religion, guys, we are pretty dominant in terms of Hellenic. But one tiny bit of Canaanite survived all this way. I am proud of those boys. Of course, the Norse is pretty much all gone because they became Catholic and converted France, of all places. And in Britain, we have the Brython heathens. Okay, fantastic. Kind of strange, honestly, like how when I saw this at the start, I thought that the wars of religion would be massive between all the Celtic groups, but they're all kind of split now. Like, we've got the British one over there on their island, the Celtiberians have just become a thing over here, and Germania's just remained druidic, so they really didn't fight that much. Catholic has kind of been like stuck in the middle of them. Of course, much of the east of the Mediterranean is old Hellenic still. They never converted to our religion. There's also been a hugely expansive Hinduism where basically Persia is now Hindu as well. But saying that, Zoroastrian still survives. What a resilient faith through this game it's been. Oh, and by the way, the Christians got a heresy, the Waldensians pop up, but they got squashed pretty quickly. And the third monotheistic group that does exist is Ibadi over here. I don't think they're going to survive too long in EU4. But overall, though, it's been a very, very painful game, and I have enjoyed expanding Sparta. I really didn't want to expand east, but tell my vassals that. I wanted to just chill out over here. The key thing, though, is that we have the Balearics, we have North Africa here, and we have the islands over here that are going to be incredibly useful for what we're going to be doing in EU4. Overall, though, guys, that was very chaotic, but pretty fun in the end. I hope you did enjoy the video. I definitely wasn't crying into my keyboard for half of the campaign, but if you have enjoyed and found this entertaining, guys, a like and a subscribe would be massively appreciated. It really does help the channel out with being such a small channel. Of course, you can check out the converters down below in the description. And once again, a big shout out to ISP for inspiring this playthrough. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy, and hopefully I'll see you all again on the next video. And once again, big shout out to some of the channel members, Cowie, David, and Pascal. If you are interested in supporting the channel, you can do for as little as $1 a month down below.